fire what you're saying.
Yes, sir. Give thanks to life, same speed, you know?
That's a serious thing. We are here again, bald head in the dread, giving thanks for the ability to give thanks. Fire, before you tell them about what we're reading, let the people know about Sunday.
Yeah, strictly Black History celebration, Roots Rock Reggae celebration at the Vital Shop, February 16, 5 to 9 p.m. It is taking place at 10:30 Union Street, Brooklyn, New York. So, more the people them come in and come all our vibes and notice a conscious enlightenment, you know. We'll leap out the vibration that we have vegan buffet for the people them see and we are courtesy of Vital Shop. So, it's coming and all our vibes, you know. Well, today we're reasoning about the lack of self-love amongst black men in America. It's a really a dangerous topic, and I feel like it's always getting overlooked because one, true black men are supposed to be strong, regardless of whatever is coming at them. There's so many different variables into this topic, and I feel like it's definitely one of the most overlooked topic in America. The world thereof, but that's how we there for the time being. So we have to reason about it from that aspect,
No, a serious thing, Farah, and I'm excited to talk about the topic because many brothers can relate if they're being truthful with themselves. If you're born in America or any colonial country, I can't say every colonial country, but specifically in America, you are taught to hate yourself directly and indirectly. You have your interactions with the media, you have your interactions with the education system, you have your interactions with your peers, Farah, because we don't acknowledge how we talk to each other. Because I remember I was a kid, dumbass nigga, stupid ass nigga, corny ass nigga. Those are harsh words if you think about it. And they say it with such vigor, Fire. These are harsh things to say to another human being, or, obviously you have the color complexes on this thing, but the way we talk to each other with such hate and such disregard with the intention to truly hurt someone's feelings and destroy a person. But as you know already, as I stated before, the media 24/7, everywhere you look, you see certain images of yourself that really destroy your ability to love yourself. And these are one of the things I want to touch on later before you jump in, Farai. You know how black men are typecasted in Hollywood movies? That repetition of seeing yourself in a certain light and a certain negative connotation, you start to typecast yourself, because that's where you hear brothers say, man, that ain't for me. That's white people stuff, bro. Or that's not for me. And as you continue to say this is not for me, all the opportunities and experiences you close yourself off to, and you limit yourself in life because your mind has been limited to what you can accomplish.
Yeah, that's a facts. And then the funny part about it all is that a lot of these things will type of self-hate will push towards yourself will make it become so cool. And I find that to be the weirdest part about it all. Like, how can we push self-hate but yet make self-hate become so cool? And anybody who is opposing that particular type of self-hate is almost like they become the villain in the culture. And it's half the time we don't even look on the person who is the villain in the culture as a person who is actually telling us the right thing to benefit ourselves as a people. And I think that is the biggest or the weirdest phenomena you can even think of when you sit down and really psychoanalyze the whole thing for you. Because, say that most black males right now, the reason why a lot of them pretend to be tough or super tough, is because them already aware of some of the variables, whether it want to be directly or indirectly. So understanding all of these variables is almost like one have to put a persona to try fight against all of these particular variables taking place, and then it causes a certain confusion in the brain now. Like when you really sit down and check it, who am I really? So it's always a question yourself and have to wonder who you are, and you will never ever get the answer them if you don't really slow down certain things in your brain, because all of these things going on at once, it start confuse you to a certain extent.
Yeah, I feel there are numerous crises we talk about, like world crisis, obviously, but as black men, I think we really have a confidence crisis. True confidence. I'm not talking about the loud talk. I'm not talking about the slick talk, and I'm not talking about trying to purchase confidence or doing something. I'm talking about true confidence. And also, we have a trust crisis. The trust crisis now, in the defense of the brothers, and you've been there. You grow up in an environment that you can't trust anything. You can't trust the system, and you get to the point where you don't trust yourself. But what I noticed with the trust part is that, all right, so the system constantly does things to you so you don't trust the system. But now you as the individual, and especially when you don't learn, we have to put that aspect, and all of this is learned behavior, and people being conditioned to behave this manner. Brothers have an issue trusting themselves because they don't hold themselves accountable. Fire. There's been too much repetition of them saying they're gonna do something and not doing it. So now they don't trust themselves. When they don't trust themselves now for things that they need to be doing to move forward, that hits the confidence even more. And it's a nasty, like a snowball effect, like in the cartoons. They just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that's where we run into the problems. Um, and with the brother, I wanted to touch on something you said earlier, how the person who actually has some self worth, some self love, feels worthy of doing things, feels worthy of the best of life. And when we say the best of life, I'm not referring to material things. You could add that too, but the best of life in regards to the highest level of health, mental health, relationships, and all that. They feel worthy of it, not deserving, not entitled. Two different things. I want to put the clarification here. That person is attacked because now it makes sense because you're in an environment where people don't feel worthy. Now you acting like you feel worthy, and I guess you're the uppity Negro, or you think you're this and that. When you just fire out of everything that went on, you managed to harness some love for yourself, and you want to pursue certain things, and you expect certain things out of life. And in return, you become a target for your own people. But Far, I wanted to ask you, man. I could speak about my journey, but um, at what point do you feel you got to a healthy point of self love?
Well, it's kind of there's different time periods, and I feel like when the different we mention healthy, we have different state of health, a healthiness to when we really sit down and think about it, because when you just start coming out of consciousness, and you realize how again the variables we mentioned start to affect you, then you start questioning things. Now you start to get answer because you ask yourself now, why sometimes the simplest of things get me upset? Why would the simplest of things get me upset now? So I feel like in my early years of transition into find it early still, relatively early, that it could have helped and boost upon the journey. So we're grateful for that. Late teens, early 20s, or no, sir, right? This are really the period and we start find out a whole heap of different things now. Where we check with anger now. We start to wait, but we don't need to be angry for this. Because there's no legitimate reason why I would be angry for this. Even if it catch you off guard, you can think about it and it's not supposed to spoil a day. There's no way that one event should really take over your whole day. So we start asking ourselves these type of questions now, and then we start, say, and we start find some certain solutions and ways how to well the actual thoughts then we are rush through your brain. You realize you start to love yourself more, and you can find the more you're more intention driven. So you be intentional about every single thing we you do. I find that was a period when we start questioning certain angers, trying to find out certain things and looking at myself and I say, yo, why this really take place? And then I start to realize one thing. It's like the most masculine, the man them evoke masculinity the most. It's not the man them were super aggressive. It's more the man them were calm and relax and realize that them achieve more things out of life. And again, when we say achieving is not just financial, but even when we take it from a financial level, is the man them with less aggression. Them aggressive in the way them carry out them business and conduct themselves to that manner. But we think about the unnecessary aggression with everything have to be physical. You have this heated thing, your persona have to be in a dark state. Realize that them thing they don't really it not really drive as much goals as you'd like that for really happen for you. So you start to relax and calm, and when you calm your brain now, realize yo, we've start finding certain real role models now where actually make sense and not the role models them where them just put up front now. And that is when certain transitions start take place.
And Far, I appreciate you sharing that. And my experience has been I've always had I think I've always had a level of self love. I can't really say I fully hated myself. I had a level of self love which was high in the environment that I was in, but reaching new heights. I say it was a 10-year process. Being exposed to literature, as you said, going through that. We all have an angry stage as a black man. Fire, we be angry. You know what I'm saying? You angry and aggressive because that's the blueprint you've been given. You feel the heights of manhood is the heights of aggression, And what I've come to learn is, as you attested to, and I'm pretty sure you picked this up being around me, is that the most masculine man is very peaceful. And there's a part you left out. He's a nurturer. I think when we talk about nurture, we always talk about the women, but I notice that very masculine men are nurturing in a masculine way, you know, and that's a key component for any brother listening out there. You definitely need to be a nurturer. But yeah, it's definitely a journey. I give thanks for literature. People like obviously Malcolm X, Amos Wilson, especially, and Marcus Garvey. They really gave me the boost that I needed because, you know, I know some people say they grow without a father, this and that, but it's funny how things pop up. I grew up with a father, right? So I'm not saying I grew up without a father. I'm saying for those who didn't. It's funny how father figures pop up when you're in search of it. And a lot of father figures you need to search for in those ticks in that literature because these great minds shared their great thoughts and you could utilize that for the guidance that you need. But reading those texts fire really gave me a different level of confidence and a different level of belief in myself. And you remember how I spoke about the snowball effect before of not trusting yourself and not completing stuff? My snowball went the opposite way because I was consistently completing stuff that I didn't even think I could accomplish. And my ball got bigger and bigger, and it's just been rolling ever since. And I wanted to say something for you, chime in, because I definitely want you to share what you have to say. But I do encourage the brothers that you have to hold yourself accountable wherever you are. No comparison. Stop. I don't care if you're 30, 40, 50. Don't compare yourself to the next 40-year-old man, the next 50-year-old man. Be honest with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. And you have to do stuff to gain a trust of yourself. It's very important because by gaining that trust of yourself, you build up that confidence. And when you build up that confidence, you start feeling more worthy of stuff, not entitlement. Fire, I keep saying entitlement, right? Not saying entitlement, but worthy of stuff. What I have learned talking to the brothers is that many brothers don't feel worthy of greatness. That's why they duck and dodge certain things. And they put themselves in a bubble, which is sad because all the talent and greatness that they have, they lock down because they don't want to move out of that because they don't think they're capable of doing that. Now, I'm not telling you to jump off no cliff and do something you've never done. You have to take those small steps to build you up, build yourself up. But the consistency is key. The consistency is key. Holding yourself accountable and accomplishing stuff that you intended to accomplish on a daily basis. If you are starting from ground zero, there is nothing wrong with that. You have to build up your confidence and the trust of yourself. You have to be able to trust yourself, knowing to say, if I step out to do this mission, it will be completed. Regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the setbacks, it will be completed.
I want to go forward to a statement where I make about the nurturer piece. It's a very, it's a very important piece that like super, super important because again, the concept of nurturing, people don't understand the how masculinity and nurturing is have a similar correspondence, right? And you so when you really become a man who firm in your ways and you understand say there's a balance. Like you have this balancing mission where you have to do because nurture you have to still have the soft spot. But the difference between the way a female nurture and a male nurture is that you have to be rough at the same time. So it's almost like it's an oxymoron, but it's a thing that it's living and a living, breathing oxymoron. You have to rough and you have to soft at the same time. Just imagine how much of an attention span you need to make sure say you can rough while soft at the same while giving love at the same time. That balance where you have to have, and it's not an easy balance, it's something we have to learn over time. Because even though it's natural in you, but you have to really find your true self and have the type of energy that will overstand to you at any moment, you can conquer any moment you have a pray for conquer. You can't left the mindset there, you still have a pray for conquer to a certain extent, but you have the soft spot with the love in your heart and it's sure. And the more you evoke this nurture inside, it's almost like it build up your bravery, it build up every single thing because you know so you have this love for a particular reason. And this love where you have is not just a random love where you just have give away like that. Is a love where it's there you try to build up on a particular legacy or a foundation. So it's the balance and the sweet spot the nurturing is almost like it bring it out of you. And then yeah, they mentioned the next piece now we will talk about even the whole literature. I said, show me reading a lot of books and all of these different things. That are one of the main reasons why I'm come to Rastafari, because one of the questions I'm ask myself was like, why is Haile Selassie so calm when him a give him speech them, and how come him so relaxed yet still this man have a whole nation under duress, and him have so much different burdens upon him head, him have to flee with him family and all of these things. I'm realize that this man actually I take this thing serious, but then him place this big emphasis on strategy. And when I see him start mention this thing about strategy and all them things, I mean I say, what is it? Why is strategy so important? And then when we think about the concept of your consistency, where you bring in now, me I say, wait, but the strategy important for remain consistent, because if you can't, if you don't have a strategy in place to make this operation work, then where you gonna be consistent at? You have to have some form of model where you have to consistent towards, and that model in itself, the foundations of that model is a strategy where you go create. So as a man, you have to understand, say, you have to have some form of strategy in your head. That's why I tell the man him say, you can't say he's a militant man and an upright man, but yet still, yet spend time to meditate. You either always attack or you always a try for bully somebody. It's almost like, to me, that is anti-masculine. If you really are a masculine, you have to sometimes you have to meditate. You can't really attack unless you have an actual point where you want to bring cross, or you're not jovial where you know where you try to cheer up a spirit or change the energy. And most of the male them is like almost like them figure the concept, or them not overstand that basic concept as it.
Yeah, far. And I wanted to say, man, as you become more confident in your masculinity, because I think that's a big issue. Men are very shaky in their because that's the source of all the behavior, the excitement, the fighting, the whoring, fight, and all this, and the materialism, because they don't feel grounded and comfortable in themselves. Now, you were talking about the nurturing aspect. I think the nurturing aspect comes naturally when you grow into loving yourself and truly being confident in yourself. And also, you mentioned the important thing about Haile Selassie that we should have mentioned earlier. You need a spiritual connection, and you have to have a level of faith where you're not blowing in the wind all around the place while you're grounded. And I can't get in the emperor head, but I knew that he knew, and he trusted. So you don't got to get too flustered, because he trusted himself and he trusted the higher power that he believed in. To be a Christian, so Christ or Christianity. So I think you need to intertwine that. You need to do the work of developing yourself, that you trust yourself, and you need to work with whatever you're working with to build that trust in that higher power, Allah, Yahweh, Christ, whatever you're dealing with, Rastafari, whatever you're dealing with, because that's what the man leaving out. They're leaving out that spiritual connection. That's why some people flopping out themselves. But you have to know. And when you know, you can step a certain way. And when you know now and you're comfortable yourself in your masculinity, that's where the nurture come to play. That's where that empathy come to play. And that's where that listening come to play, fire. People don't listen now. People don't listen. Fire, if we having a reasoning, right? My response is based on what you said, right? 100% accurate. I ain't responding to something else or talking. I hear exactly what you're saying. Some things
Them
I
like
need
to
to
hear
respond.
themselves.
Some things you're supposed to respond, and some things you just need to listen. And that's a skill that all these things are skill that you learn through what? Repetition. But you got to first put yourself in a place to start doing it. You get what I'm saying? So I encourage the men to just, and some of you need to remove yourself from the idle conversation that you're having, and find yourself around some progressive people. If the conversation going left, I just dap up, gone, love. You don't have to sit there and listen to these things. It's toxic to your dome. You don't got to cut nobody off disrespectfully. Fire the conversation, the reason on the heights, respect. Next time, fire, I got to cut. Done. You have to search out some progressive reasonings, fire. And a lot of people need to change their friend circle. Fire, you know what a thing too? You know I'm pretty sure you got to know about this. You know what's kind of common right now? Friends fighting each other every weekend when they go out fire. Every time they congregate, they arguing or they physically fighting. What kind of madness is that? Yeah, that throw off everything. This is supposed to be a bridge, and we arguing. We're arguing and fighting. That can't work.
remember, you know, you see, all right, if you check majority of them, black people are some of the most, not even some, black people are the most talented people in earth. We said that without apology, it's true, right? The arts in itself show that, but there's something we notice in particular about a lot of music, whether it want to be dancehall music or certain elements of reggae too, and then we have the rap music. Certain places in a hip hop, we hear this concept where them always a talk about friend. And me I say, why so much people have problem with friends, with this concept of friend and watch your friends. You know, in a reggae even now you're the man and say watch your friends where you smoke with and run joke with. But yet still these are the same set of people who always around a lot of bag of friends. So it shows some form of confusion in the brain because the first thing when me think most of the man them don't understand is this. If you're a man today, you will be a man tomorrow. You will be a man the day after. It doesn't matter what. You will always be a man. But I think a lot of them question themselves. Honestly, a lot of males question their manliness, and a lot of them they wouldn't say that to you in public. I'm telling you, probably if in their private they wouldn't say it to you, but within their
They
deep
action
within their
the
minds,
action the actions tell us that far right. The actions tell us
yeah,
that.
they question themselves and them well being up. Say, wonder if I'm really a man. It made me think about this concept of masculinity. Masculinity is almost like a last, is almost like a last gem within this modern day, because not because you see a bunch of men have on jeans or them look like males, mean they are males. I mean not even not talk about no whole transgender thing. I talk about just a concept of masculinity. A lot of these males question themselves and question their identity, and it show in every single thing that they're doing. But is that we really want to tell the brother them say if you're a male today, you're gonna be a male tomorrow? That's why the element of surprise is where I think a lot of males supposed to learn how to deal with the element of surprise and actually understand say it's not this loud thing. Empty barrel make the most nice. And you see the more loud that you see a man be, I think the more you have to question where I'm really stand for and where I'm represent. And you realize that more again, we'll go back to this meditation. I think meals in particular and meditation is something that have intertwined. And you can't really, it's not an element where you can really get out from because there's no way that you can classify yourself as a provider. All right, most males classify themselves as a provider. How will you provide? Is a meditation really I bring forward the whole provision thing, because we're not talking about just food on the table or whatnot. And even that, to get to a certain financial state, we can provide for even our family. So you're talking about finances. You have in your meditation because why? Things won't always go your way. And then you think about outside of just the financial. Again, we mentioned in at the beginning, there's so many odds stacked against you from the very system, from your own ecosystem. So if you're not in your meditation and not steady with your meditation, then your mind become corrupt. And when your mind become corrupt, you start questioning yourself and you question your masculinity and identity. And that's where the whole confusion starts.
No, reality meds. And I just really encourage all the brothers out there to one, start. Start today doing something different. I'm not saying because you start, you're gonna start to love yourself or trust yourself, right? But start today to accomplish some goals. Start. There's another thing I wanted to add, far right, but it's going to take too long, and we're going to do a next reason on it. Please remind me. You got to change up your self talk, yeah. You got to change up how you talk to yourself, yeah. You got to change up how you talk to yourself. Yeah. A lot of brothers talk down to themselves way more than anybody else. They put themselves down more than anybody outside. Worse than the system, worse than their peers, worse than anybody. And you have to stop doing that. Now, I want to say, I'm not saying just to talk good to yourself, not followed up with no action, because it's not church. This is reality. This is life, right? But you got to stop putting yourself down. And you got to stop being so hard on you when life don't work out the way you think life should work out. And you have to work towards something and stay with it. Hey, fire, you see that staying with something, fire, that puts you in a different category. Yeah? When you deal with all the BS that comes with accomplishing something and you deal with it, that's where the confidence comes now. That's where the real confidence for coming. You got a vibe to you and a step and people can read it. Go to my church, people say you've been through the fire. Too much people running from the fire. They try and talk over the fire, talk through. No. You gotta get through it, and you have to stay with stuff to the completion. You have to stay with stuff till it's completed. You have to. You got to build up your structure because for too long you've been ducking and dodging, or complaining and whining, or blaming. This is the goal, a realistic goal for where you at, and you're going to complete it. You're gonna figure out and create a system to complete it. How to manage your time to complete it. And when things go wrong, which they will, and is guaranteed, you're not going to stop. You're not going to use that as an excuse to quit. You're not going to blame others as or use others as an excuse to quit. Because that's the habit. And that's why we in this problem right now.
Yeah, the victimization type of culture, and it have become a way now because we were talk about seeing through things to completion. We think about completion. Completion is not just a phase that you can go and hype and tell people about. 'Cause you see this cloud chasing thing, it kind of take you off of your manlyhood, where everything you have to talk and tell people this to feel that validation is
Outside
necessary.
outside validation for everything,
Yeah, it kind of mash up the manlyhood, and because manlyhood is just knowing that you achieve something within what that you set out to internally, and you want to can you feel good in yourself, and no, sorry, mission accomplished. You can share it. Not saying that you're not supposed to share, especially if it's a yeah the living business per se. You might want to share the accomplishments because that will heighten your business. But internally, if you don't validate it internally, saying it externally to others just for a hype won't make you feel any better or won't make you gain any more grace than before. And that is what we need to know because manliness, again, we tell you, we can't stress it enough. The meditation as a man, your meditation bring you straight through. You have a firm for your meditation. No matter how good you do it, no matter how sorry you might think about this whole plan. Not because you think about it thoroughly and you even execute it thoroughly means that it must work according to what you were thinking. No, that's not how it works. You have setbacks and all of these things are just natural. No matter how good you want to do it, a team might train every single day, they will lose a match.
Last thing I want to say, Farah, is that I don't know where this idea came from, but people believe life is easy. And they feel that like if life is hard, it's like life is hard, fire. Life is very hard. I don't care if you got money. I don't care if you don't have no money. I don't care. Life is hard. Like hard, capital HARD. So accept that and accept the fact that you can thrive in this environment where everything is stacked. I want to tell you that's one of the beauty of being black men in America, fire, because the victory is so sweet. You're in a system where the whole system is designed, fire, that you're not supposed to do nothing with your life, if we're being truthful. And regardless of that, you still do great things. You're still a man with character and principle and provide for yourself and your family in an environment where you're not supposed to do any of those things. So I think that's the beauty of it because the next man don't have to deal with that. The system is created. You are excelling in a system that's created for you to fail. It don't get sweeter than that, far right? That's that. But check that, and that's added with the regular hardships of life. So you have the hardships of life, right? And you're excelling in the system you were designed to fail in. You're not supposed to have no mental health. You're not supposed to have no self-worth, no self-love, no income, no family, no stability, nothing.
And on top of that, you're supposed to have no emotions among the midst of all of that take place. So again, enough people not even realize or them that way I say is a real big talk for you because there's so much different odds against it. But I feel it's processed wrongly in most of
Yeah,
our
yeah,
days.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
process it like, oh, because there's so much odds against me.
It's supposed to pop me down,
Yeah, if I don't come out on top, then that's just natural. And here's why I didn't
No,
come out on top because
no,
these
fire.
odds are stacked against me,
No,
Can't work the way then.
can't work. So we give thanks for everyone tuned in. Hopefully you're taking these sounds and hopefully you got your notepad still and apply these things because what I've been preying everything on is listening thing like church and a man not really applying stuff.
Yeah,
And
no
we
application.
Yeah, we give you these sounds to apply them and improve yourself. Improve yourself, and not a rush thing. You know, you start slow, but the consistency. I can't. That's the only thing that worked for me. If I'm a consistent person, if I can't lie to you, I'm very consistent. You know, and you gotta get a nice system for yourself that works, so you can deal with yourself and get yourself together. Because you have greatness in you. That's the thing. People have the greatness in them, fire.
Mhm.
They just
So
don't
when
want to tap into it.
so
It come like they scared.
coming like they are scared and
Yeah, you know?
the way I said a while ago, so enough of them is the fear override most of them. No, it's not a and it's a serious thing, even though we're laughing up. The fear override most people so much that they actually never excel and feel like they can become nothing because they always tell themselves that they are nothing. I ain't gonna be shit.
Uh,
You know, you know,
you know
you
the you know the comments, you know.
yeah.
And one last thing I want to say before we cut.
Mhm.
Stop letting other people tell you what you can accomplish and what you can't accomplish. I think because the next person tell you can't do it, you just work with that. You just internalize that. You need to stop doing it. You know, just because the next person tell you something can't get done doesn't mean it can't get done. Within reason. If I ain't saying if you're 4'9", you're gonna be dunking on people. You gotta put clarification, but hopefully you understand it within context. You know, so we give thanks for all right. Till next time.
Yes, I.
All right.
Mhm.